What's up, guys? I wanted to post a video from my time spent with a good friend of mine, Christian Williams, out at his, I guess you could say, farmhouse and then barn gym. And you guys might not know this, but Christian actually was one of the first people to ever teach me how to weightlift. He taught me how to snatch. He taught me how to do cleans a little bit better, helped me with jerk. We actually did our USAW weightlifting certification together in 2013. So it would have been my sophomore year of college, his freshman year of college at Slippery Rock University. We grew up probably 30 minutes away from each other, but didn't meet until we were in college. And then one day he was doing clean and jerk. He was actually a CrossFit athlete, super strong. His max clean was is 325, clean and jerk, sorry. And then his best snatch, I think, is like 255 or 265 or something crazy high. Anyways, freak athlete. I do this workout with him after meeting him in the gym. I was seeing him power clean, and it was like a mile run, like a bunch of pull-ups, sit-ups, whatever, standard CrossFit workout, like 4 times. I threw up. I was like, this dude's a freak. And then we started training together. And so that was kind of a period of my life where I wasn't really jump training at all. Honestly, I was actually thinking I would be a registered dietitian or nutritionist, and thought I was going to do that or be a PT. So at the time I was just kind of training for fun. Anyways, we ended up becoming really, really, really good friends and ended up doing the same exact job, but for different joints on the body. So he specializes in shoulders for archery hunters, but actually I send a lot of dunkers over to him. Isaiah actually does his training on his general days. And it just works out that way because he was having shoulder issues anyways. It aligns pretty well with what I program on my general days for most athletes anyways. And so Isaiah started doing that stuff. Anyways, he also did work with Lee Peck. He works with Archie Padley. So obviously some pretty, CJ, Chris John, works with him as well. So if you're looking for shoulder stuff, Christian's the guy I recommend. He's really, really freaking good at what he does, and just a really good friend and really good person. So definitely someone that kind of grounds me and really reminds me of what matters. Anyways, getting into the workout. So I did my warm-up, which you guys saw, which is just a quick dynamic flexibility. My back was, again, killing me today. So I kind of concluded that one of the things that might have been messing it up was a lot of the unilateral work I was doing. Because I can get into a deeper range of motion in my unilateral work, I'm probably having my pelvis rotate. And that's because, well, they're like correlated. The reason I can go deeper is because my pelvis is undulating or oscillating to allow my hip to get into more flexion. And that also puts a strain on my L5 S1 joint, which is where I'm having a lot of the pain. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna squat today. I haven't done this in a little while. I'm gonna do box squats. That box with the 2x4 there is 18 inches. So the bench is 16. You know, the actual 2x4 adds another 2 inches. So I was going down to what would be 18 inches off the ground, which isn't terrible. I'm okay with it. I have pretty long legs, and I'm not super mobile in my hips, as you guys know. And so I've just kind of accepted that, you know, it all comes back to squatting. And I plan on doing the reverse lunges and doing the step up still, but I'm definitely gonna use squat as one of the, you know, staple exercises in my program this year. I ended up doing 5x10, and this is the last week of loading for me. So next week I'm going to probably do a half deload. I haven't fully decided yet. Sometimes I like to do a full deload, but then I feel really lazy. Feel like I don't need it because I didn't really tap into a point of fatigue. If I train correctly, I don't usually get joint or back pain. So for me, deloads only don't really do that much. And as a 1 foot jumper, I guess some people might say that. I don't really know. Just personally for me, I don't benefit too much unless I'm really, really, really pushing hard. And I feel like I can keep loading. So I'm probably just going to start the new cycle on, I guess this week kind of was a deload because of my back anyways. But yeah, I'm going to probably start the next cycle next week, and I'll be working on max strength. So this was the last day of that volume building cycle. And like I said, I did 5x10. This was I think the second to last set. So the first set was 135. Then I went to 155, and then I went to 205, which I think, 155, 185, then 205, and then 220. And that was all the weight that Christian actually had. So it kind of worked out. Focus here for me, like I said with my pelvis, if you look at kind of the arch in your low back, you can tell when someone is like butt winking, because you'll see kind of that the butt round under and move closer to their calf. And I was not doing that on these, which is really good. If I was, I probably would feel some pain. If you've seen me do the reverse lunges before, you look back at old videos, you're gonna notice my pelvis is moving. And if you watch from the back, you'd probably see that my pelvis is rotating side to side laterally. If you watch from the side, you'd probably see it's rolling underneath on that front leg in flexion. And so my focus here, like I said, was to really keep a stiff and solid core so that my back is not moving a lot. Isaiah and I had a pretty long conversation about back pain today, or I guess would have been yesterday. And basically we're like, it's someone had, I think, posted an article or whatever. I posted a post about how your spine is really a stiff chassis and you need to kind of treat it that way. And I think people are like, well, in movement, your spine is going to move accordingly. And my rebuttal is get it so strong in the weight room through appropriate exercises instead of loading it in flexion, extension, twisting, side to side movements, that you can handle those movements in your actual sport, because your spine will move a little bit in sprinting. It will move a little bit in throwing, things like that, but it's definitely not excessive and it's definitely not loaded. And I would even further argue that, or I guess make the case and point of, the weight room is supposed to prepare you for what you do in those inherently unsafe situations. So as a side note, I'm focusing on not letting my pelvis rotate so much and not, kind of screwing up my movement patterns, but we'll see. I would still like to keep reverse lunge in there. I'd still like to keep split squats in there, moving forward, but we'll kind of see what happens. Then Christian got into some power snatch. Christian has not really been pushing, crazy heavy on this stuff. This is the first time he's snatched in quite a while, but really smooth with his power snatch. He has a little bit of a cyst, I think, in his meniscus, and so he doesn't really do full snatches anymore, but he moves the barbell so well. It's like butter, it's really fun to watch. I actually did a little bit of extra stuff afterwards. My back was pretty blown up from the drive, because it's about a 2-hour drive, and in my BRZ, it's not great for my back, and I haven't really had anywhere to let it recharge. Anyways, I ended up doing single leg hip thrusts. I had the 45 on there, but I cut it out just because the video is getting pretty long. But I did 3 sets of 10 for that each leg, and then I did some single leg RDLs, and I picked those exercises because I wanted to get some volume in, but I didn't want to blow myself up after doing such a long drive. I think in the past I would have just been like, oh, well, the paper said this, I'm just going to do that. But I didn't want to do that because, again, I know my body, I'm listening to my body. I'm glad I didn't. My back feels way better today from not, doing that in the first place. And I'm really happy with how I went about that session. The following day on, I think that would have been Saturday, we ended up going on a hike in the woods. And so I didn't have a dunk session, which again, probably smart. When your back's flared up, I don't recommend doing a dunk session because it will just overload your, capacity, right? It's going to be like putting too much water and overfilling a bucket, and then it overflows and falls over, and then you end up screwed. And Travis Reynolds has made that mistake tons of times, and I was avoiding that. So ended up being a really good week of training and a really good weekend. I appreciate Christian and Maddie and, inviting me out and taking care of me all weekend. I'm back now and ready to train for next week though. So I'll see you guys next time. If you guys can like and comment, it helps the algorithm. Appreciate you guys. THPStrength.com if you're looking for jump training. Peace out.